pressure still went off, and Chat will go down. But hold on, yeah, Ventari's low, but now Sizer's so low though. Sizer, hold on, Sizer getting the heal off. Will Ventari go down? Ventari will go down, and Chat gets himself back up into play now. Sizer's low, and he takes Sizer down. Oh my goodness.
30 seconds, they're trying. They're really trying to push in. They still have that one cap in the favor as well, but CM is just completely over them at this point. Let's see again.
18 seconds.
Pushing it, super throwing down the fire field here at the moment. They're trying their best to focus the Lord. 10 seconds left in the game. Lord's about 80% health. They're trying. They're just really trying. 60, 40, 5 seconds. Here we go.
If they get this,
health.
it's possible. They might get this, Blue. No! Yes, they got it!
Hello ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? My name is Blue and welcome to what I believe is the 28th Mistpedia Weekly 2 vs 2 Cup. Today we are going to be having 10 teams stepping up to the plate for their opportunity to be crowned this week's champion. We have lots of competition indeed, and we have quite a bit of it. So we're not going to waste much time on introductions or anything such as that, but we are going to very quickly, assuming it loads for me, take a fast look at the brackets, because once more we do have a lot of teams to get through. We have split the upper bracket play a little bit. We're going to be showing the bottom half of the bracket, guys. It's going to be including teams Give Lucy, Team Gazm, Blacklisted, Kappa Crusaders, as well as the teams Sal and Lugo are all going to be shown first on stream. We'll be hooking up into O-Run's Arena a little bit later on tonight to do the lower half of the bracket and the remaining parts of the upper bracket as well as soon as we finish our part. But we're going to be starting off first with our only round of 16 game from this bottom half. That's going to end up being between teams Gazm and Blacklisted. As a reminder of our procedures as well, because of a new rule we added last week, this week we are going to be playing back on Legacy of the Faux Fire. Now, once again, the reason we did this is we were getting a lot of requests to actually go back to Legacy. There are some teams that were complaining about some issues. Apologies. There were some teams complaining about issues with the Courtyard map. So what we've instituted now is essentially we're going to be rotating from week to week. So we'll be doing this week on Legacy. Next week we'll go back to Courtyard. And then the week after that we'll go back to Legacy once more. And we'll just keep doing that back and forth. So from now on, again, based on your viewing preferences, if you'd like to see a Legacy 2 vs 2 Cup, tune into the even-numbered weekly 2 vs 2 Cups. And if you'd like to see a Courtyard 2 vs 2 Cup, tune into the odd-numbered ones is how it's going to work from now on. We also have some other rules, but we'll explain those to the players a little bit later on. Without further ado, however, and just give me 1 second to explain something. Give me 1 second here, guys. I do apologize. Just have to explain the boundaries a little bit to the players here. Alright, so sorry about that. So anyway, we're going to go over the builds. Sorry, we had to explain the barriers because again, it's been a while since we've been on this map, so there are some newer players that may not be aware of the barriers we use here. But anyway, as we go over the builds, we're actually going to be doing them a little bit different tonight. Now, because it was an idea that was tossed around between numerous shoutcasters, but I did not have any time to make overlays for this, so we're going to go over the builds, and we're going to do it a little bit of a different way. We're going to keep the cameras on here, but ready? Bam, bam. Bam! Look at that. Now it's directly on screen here. We don't have to move off the camera. So, taking a quick look at the builds here, guys, starting off on the red team, we are going to be running with an Elementalist as well as a Mesmer here. We're taking first off a look at Foxing over here on his Mesmer, running with what appears to be a fairly typical Shatter build here. Nothing really too out of the ordinary with it. Lots of DPS, but very dependent on positioning. If he's not watching out for that, he's going to find himself going into the downstate very, very quickly. And then as well, checking out McGazzy very quickly. He is going to be playing on an Elementalist, but it's going to be a very, very bursty one, as we can see here. 06026 Fresh Air Scepter Focus Elementalist here. This is Zeus's build by trademark, of course. Lots of bursts very quickly, fairly similar to that Elementalist, but he's also going to be really squishy, so he does have to pay attention. This is a straight up burst build from the red side, and well, what that means is it's going to be a very, very quick fight indeed. And checking out over here on the blue side for Team Blacklisted, first off, Yura, to no surprise, is going to be playing his trademark Power Ranger build, 66200. It's full damage all the way in, along with a longbow and greatsword, obviously, Berserker's Amulet, Runes of the Pack. So once more, a lot of direct damage. Anybody that tries to make a direct approach to him is really going to be having a bad day, but keep in mind there too that McGazzy will be having access over to things like Swirling Winds, so he does have an opportunity to counter stuff like that out there. But then when you take a look over here at Steb, he is playing on a Thief, running with Sword Dagger. That's going to be actually pretty damage-oriented Sword Dagger build here, 26006, along with obviously once more the Berserker's Amulet and Runes of the Pack, but it's still going to, you know, be a Berserker's build. Still going to be a Sword Dagger build, jumping in there and going for the dodges, keeping himself in the fight. Not so much damage when you compare it to a DP build, but because he is running with this trait split, as well as those Pack Runes there, he is still going to be dealing a decent amount. It just won't be anything like a DP build, and it's going to be more about sustain and keeping himself alive and in the fight. So once more, that pretty much wraps up the builds, guys. So now we can head into the game cameras, and as soon as our players are ready, we can get started. Just waiting for the ready ups now, and we shall begin. And again, we're kind of toying with how we're going to be doing Legacy this time. We're trying to keep it to the convenience level from an administrative perspective that it was over on the Courtyard. So we are still going to be starting the game, which means the middle point will actually be active. But basically, we've told teams just ignore the point. If it gets capped, it's whatever. But in terms of how we're actually doing... Hold on. Sorry. But in terms of how we're actually doing, like, boundaries and whatnot, we're allowing teams to use the first tier, which is the area on the point itself, as well as the second tier, which includes this upper area, but we're not allowing teams to use the stairs or the actual third tier, which would give high advantages to people like these one that can port up there for a way to get out of combat. As well, the second these gates open, teams have been instructed to move towards middle without any delay whatsoever, so if they do delay, there may be penalties, but obviously, once more, hopefully, that does not become an issue. Anyway, however, the game, guys, is now getting started. So both of our teams are on their way to the middle point, and this is the first 2v2 tournament we've had on Legacy in quite some time. Blue team is going to arrive there first, meaning they're going to get a little bit of extra time to prepare here, and it looks like that Steb specifically is going to be heading across the threshold now, looking for an opportunity to engage. This could actually be a very good AoE opportunity for Steb if he wants to go in there with a short bow. Keep in mind, these guys are very squishy, but at the same time here, Steb does have to be careful of the burst, just like that. Looks like he managed it, but no! Steb goes down, as does McGazzy, however. So now we're going to have a stomp race. Mass Invis coming out from Foxing, and instead of going for a stomp on a Steb, actually tries to go for a res on McGazzy. Nice fear from the Wolf actually comes out there from Yura, though, and once more stops that res process, and more damage actually coming out from Steb and Yura combined will lead to the elimination of Gazzy first. So a very quick round one will fall into the favor of the blue team, which means once more Blacklisted is now going to be up. I forget we have to end the game here and everything too. This is so different than Courtyard, but very good round one there. Once again, like we pretty much predicted there, it's going to be very quick rounds with all of these high burst builds in here. It's all going to come down to who makes the first mistake, and as we saw there that time, it actually ended up being both teams, but unfortunately, due to the fact that, personally, because of the fact that I think we saw Foxing going for the res on the McGazzy, probably would have been a better option for him to go for the stomp on the Steb instead. That's just my personal opinion, but when you keep in mind, again, Steb really only had that one way to get actually, like, kind of away from him, and he really would not have known when that was coming anyway. He would have had to get a lucky guess off when you remember that Foxing actually had popped Mass Invis and was stealthed during the duration of that. So two things keeping in mind is that Yura would not have been able to knock him back, and more than likely Steb would have misjudged the actual timing of the stomp there and not gotten out of the way in time. You saw again that he didn't even, I don't even think he really used it, so might have been a better option to go for the stomp there, and just in general probably would have led to a better time there for team apologies for Team Give Lucy. But as we saw, Blacklisted got the first game, which means they're now going to be up 1-0. And once more, guys, we are going to begin as soon as our teams are ready to begin. So just give me a second here to allow them their permission. Following this, guys, by the way, to give you a bit of a synopsis as to what is coming up here. Following this game, we're actually going to be seeing, and actually, apologies, folks, because I have the wrong teams on the overlay. It is Team Gazm on the red team, not Team Give Lucy. It was a slight adjustment we had to make because we had to add a team in at the last second here. Team Blacklisted, there was an issue with their check-in, so we kind of had to toss them in after we started the brackets. A little bit of violating our own rules there, but because it was an admin error, we kind of overrid them for the sake of that team. But once again, Gazm versus Blacklisted, not Give Lucy versus Blacklisted, will be getting started here in just a second. The second game, the match point for Team Blacklisted. Keep in mind, too, that if we actually end up seeing a 2-0 for Blacklisted here, Gazm is not out of the event just yet. This is a double elimination tournament, which means the Gazm will not be dropped out here just yet. They will be thrown into the lower bracket, where they will have to fight for survival against other teams that have also been thrown down there. But anyway, with the game now getting started, we're starting off our point of view over here on Steb, and we're going to wait and see now as they dive in. Red team once more having not as much mobility there, so they are going to arrive in this fight slightly later, which means blue team once more will kind of get that positional advantage here because they are given more time to get themselves into a correct spot. You're kind of whiffing, I believe, his knockback over there. Not sure what was going on with that. Just trying to see what he actually used. No, apology, he used the hunter shot for some reason, but nice amount. And you can even see here too, take a look at this. That was actually a fairly decent amount of AoE that's just coming out here with the barrage. Usually that's a fairly low damage skill, to be completely honest. So red team's kind of going to be forced out of their den essentially, even with that small amount of damage. I'm very worried for the red team's ability to survive this. This is all or nothing for them. They go in, nice amount of damage connecting onto your team, but they're shooting in the dark here at the moment. Both members on the blue team are in stealth here, so they're really relying on their own ability to connect these hits. Invulnerability procced out somewhat early there by Gazzy, but as well doesn't negate a full channel of the barrage they're coming in. But now Yura goes in with his greatsword. Lots of deeps connecting here at the moment. Look at that though, Steb is also down, but Yura manages to get him back up with a Nature's Renewal. Very well done there indeed. A little bit of an oversight from the red team there, not interrupting that, but at the same time, we see Yura going down. McGazzy also goes down, but Steb going to attempt to come in for a stomp. There is no stomp attempt from either member of the blue team at the moment here. Foxing comes in, does not connect that stomp. McGazzy also in the downstate here. Foxing is playing a very dangerous game indeed. He needs to stomp out Yura because he's getting his pet res now, and once more is interrupted there. McGazzy's going to run out of health, and there you have it, folks. The blue team, Team Blacklisted, in a bit of an unlucky play in the downstate there, is going to be taking this set in a 2-0 victory, which means they're moving on to the next round of the winners bracket. As for Team Gazm, they're going to be thrown into the lower bracket, folks. We have our next matchup coming up here in just a few minutes. We're going to jump down here, give the Team Blacklisted just a few minutes break, so we're going to be going to match C12 next, which will be Kappa Crusaders versus Sal and Lugo. That's coming up in just a second, guys, so stick around. And welcome back once again, folks, to the Mistpedia Weekly 2 vs 2 Cup. We're now heading into our next matchup, which is going to be actually the start of what I believe is the winners bracket semifinals, and I do believe I am correct in saying that. I just got to double check myself here. No, apologies. There's winners bracket quarterfinals here at the moment. It's the first game over here is going to be once again Kappa Crusaders taking on Sal and Lugo. First off, starting off, you're taking a look at Araha, who I believe is actually Shinryuko at the moment, running with a very interesting warrior build, running with axe, offhand sword, as well as a hammer with Celestial Amulet, Runes of the Radasum, as well as the traits being 4-2-4-0-4. Now again, trait split is a little bit weird for this build, and again, it would appear as if it's a normal Eviscerate build, but obviously the hammer is throwing that off by just a little bit there. Normally we would expect to see an offhand longbow coming into play with this, but obviously the hammer will be adding quite a bit of extra CC into the mix with this as well. And the Runes of the Radasum, well, that is also another interesting choice there too, but it will be throwing down that radiation field. Obviously, haven't really seen this utilized too much in PvP before, so it should be very interesting to see how this goes. And of course the traits as well, still going for the distraction strike. So again, when you consider the overall aspects of the build, if he is able to connect that damage, it should still be a very, it should still be very impactful indeed, because when you consider just the sheer amount of interruptions that a hammer will bring into play, that's very, very impressive indeed, the amount of confusion that in theory he would be able to stack up, especially because I don't believe distracting strikes actually has an internal cooldown going on there. Of course, we'll still be running with cleansing ire and sure-footed, and also taking vigorous focus and mobile strikes over here in the discipline tree. Also, once more, we're going to be running with rending strikes in the arms tree. Moving on from that, we got Kuroshi playing on his engineer, 62042, and we're actually going to jump in game in just a second. It's going to be fairly standard Kanji Engi once again, so quite a bit of actual CC is going to be going on to his opponents. What we do have to note here too is there is, again, the CC will be coming mainly in the form of the toolkit as well as his 2 offhand shield abilities, but then very quickly taking a look at the blue team, Lolk IDC at the moment, I believe is going to be running pretty much a fully standard Eviscerate build here, so we'll see that coming into play. And of course, Falsetto on Thief appears to be running what is a somewhat normal DP build. 6 points into Shadow Arts should be somewhat annoying for his enemies to deal with there, but he is going to be missing quite a bit of damage. And apologies, it's PD, not DP. But anyway, guys, game started, so let's head into the game cameras here, as both of our teams have now arrived at the middle points. We are waiting for the engagement. So Kandi Thief and Eviscerate Warrior. This should be very, very interesting to see how this combination works out here, especially if they can properly use that PD Thief, keep him at range here. It should work pretty well, but we're gonna have to wait and see. Once more, both teams just kind of waiting for their own opportunities to engage onto each other here at the moment. Diving over onto Kuroshi first off. You can see Falsetto over there moving back here too, but you take a look. Once again, you've got Shin trying to lock down Lolk. Also seeing that poison field coming down onto the field here too, but again, Lolk unfortunately botching that Eviscerate there pretty much, and once more going to be wasting, or well, there will be in the next patch, would have been wasting his adrenaline. But as we take a look here, there is a nice amount of Kandi application going on to Kuroshi, and he does not seem like he can handle those Kandis far too well at all there. You can see, unfortunately, those are just melting him really hard. He needs to be very careful of that indeed here, especially when you consider it is a Kandi Thief over on the blue side. But still seeing both teams fighting their full strength. Red team having a little bit of trouble actually connecting the damage over onto the members of Kappa Crusaders here, and as such, we are going to end up seeing Kuroshi in the downstate first. Stealth attempt at a stomp does come off there from Falsetto, but a lucky knockdown comes out there from Shin and is able to stop the stomp attempt, and as well, it actually buys him enough time to get Kuroshi back up into play. So we're going to see both these teams back up to full strength, and you can also see Falsetto wearing down there just a little bit too. About 60% of his health pool here. He was a lot lower than that a few seconds ago, and with that said, if that continues onward, he may find himself in the downstate. But Kuroshi, he really needs to get away from this, and he really needs to put some extra Kandis onto his opponents here, because unfortunately, as you can see, these Kandis are just absolutely melting him alive here, and there's not much he can seem to do about it. As we see though, Lolk now coming in for the stomp. No stability to be found, can be interrupted, and is going to be interrupted there by that Earthshaker coming in from Shin in an attempt to save it. Another full res going to come off from Shin, getting the red team back up to full strength for the second time here once again, and they are still trying to lock down members of the blue team here in an attempt to finally take a lead. Kuroshi once more, probably going to get opened up with these Kandis here in a second, needs to get ready for that, and it looks like that is going to come in the form of the Thief here, while we see Shin pretty much wildly chasing Falsetto here in an attempt to find him, but really having some trouble locking him down. As you can see, Falsetto is doing a very nice job of using his stealth, as well as just in general his mobility to the best of his advantages as well. Here we are seeing Shin having quite a bit of trouble actually chasing him. Kuroshi once again though is going to fall down to those Kandis just as he gets his pull off onto Falsetto there as well, and for the third time we are going to have to see Shin try to go for a full res. If there is any issue with his blue team here, it's the fact that they just do not have the adequate enough corpse cleave in order to fully kill one of the members here on the red team. So eventually, unfortunately, I do believe that if we do see a blue team member go into the downstate, it is not going to be pretty here for Team Sal and Lugo at the moment, because as you can see, they've gotten members of the red team down multiple times, but have failed multiple times to execute it. Now, we are actually going to see Shin going down, and Kuroshi as well having some issues connecting that. I believe we also saw Lolk over here. He did have stability finally up and running on that stomp attempt, so with that, is finally going to be able to score a kill into one of the members of Kappa Crusaders, knocking him out of play, and we'll also see Kuroshi fall down right there as well. So, with all things considered here, blue team did end up coming out on top, and as such, they're now going to be up 1-0 in this set. We'll be right back, guys, in just a second as we wait for our teams to rejoin, as we'll be moving into round 2 here of this set in just a few moments.
reflection that I see. Catch my soul, lose my mind. You're the only trip I need. I'm losing control. Your eyes entice me. Just letting go. Your hold is tightening. I feel you rushing through my veins. Our bodies getting closer. Your heartbeat drives me insane. I feel you taking over. I feel you rushing through my veins. Our bodies getting closer. Your heartbeat drives me insane. I feel you taking over.
Let's start soon. Last chance to nail down your strategy.
And welcome back, folks, once again to the Mistpedia Weekly 2 vs 2 Cup. We are in the round of 8 here at the moment between Kappa Crusaders and Sal and Lugo. This is also the upper bracket, if there was clarification needed on that for anyone. Once again, as a reminder, we are fighting on Legacy this week, not the Courtyard. We'll be making a return to Courtyard next week. And once more, this is Kappa Crusaders, consisting of Shin and Kuroshi, taking on Sal and Lugo with what I assume to be Sal and Lugo, but unfortunately I do not know which is which, so we've got Lil K and Falsetto playing for that team here at the moment. But anyway, we just saw Sal and Lugo take a first game, and it was just a result of pretty much wearing down members of Kappa Crusaders over time there until they were able to get a lucky break. We had seen Kuroshi go down, I believe, 3 or more times over the course of that entire engagement, and really just once more, blue team not really having enough corpse cleave and or not having a stability cooldown up in order to finish off one of the members of the red team. It really just came down to once more waiting for their own opportunity to actually get a stability cooldown up, and it ended up not even going on to Kuroshi first. It ended up being a death on the side for, it ended up being Shin, I believe, was the first player to actually end up getting stomped out there. Now, some adjustments I think we could see made here from this team is possibly not so much of a focus on going for Falsetto. Falsetto was their prime target, and he is proving to be their prime target in this game here as well. And while, again, it does seem like a rather appetizing choice to just go directly in for that thief and knock it out quickly as you can, that's kind of the trap of it, is once more here, that thief has all the dodges, that thief has that entire way to get around, and unfortunately, if you spend your entire time chasing it, you are going to leave your opponents open to freely DPS you and cut you around the place. So I feel that if they had swapped over to that warrior, if things might have gone a little bit better for them. As things are, however, once more, we did see Shin get knocked out there that time too, so it's looking good for the blue team, Sal and Lugo, to actually move on to the next round. And as is a set, however, you want to take a look at both members of the blue team. They are fairly low, so technically speaking, if Kuroshi can spread his condies around here well enough, and we did note too that Kuroshi actually swapped off his utilities. No longer was he running with Grenade and Toolkit along with an Elixir S. He's actually running with Triple Kit, Elixir Gun Bomb Kit, as well as Toolkit. And this is as well, I want to check out to see if he changed an amulet or something. Does not look like it. Still running with pretty much the same exact build. I'm not entirely sure if these Runes of the Undead were still in play in the last round, but overall still looks like pretty much the same exact build. But once more, the Triple Kit actually seems to be helping him out by quite a bit, as once more it's taking his opponents quite a long time in order to fully kill him here at the moment. And his Condi spread is fairly impressive to the point where once more, blue team has pretty much been forced to fall back here and wait for their opportunity to take him down. Unfortunately for Kuroshi, however, once more Falsetto is able to pretty much just DPS him down from range. So with that said, they are still able to eliminate him, and with him being knocked out here, Sal and Lugo are going to be taking their 2-0 victory, which means they'll be moving on to the next round of the upper bracket, and Kappa Crusaders is going to be dropped into the lower bracket. We'll be seeing them play a little bit later on tonight, hopefully, but for now, though, we're going to be saying goodbye to them. With that said, though, guys, our next matchup is coming up here in just a few minutes. It's going to be Give Lucy taking on Team Blacklisted, coming up in just a few minutes here, guys. Be right back. And welcome back, folks, once again to the Mistpedia Weekly 2 vs 2 Cup. We are about to start with our next round here in what I believe is the round of 8 for the upper bracket here at the moment. It's going to be Give Lucy on the red team taking on Team Blacklisted on the blue side. Before we get started, we're going to take a quick look at the red team builds as we have not yet seen them play today. First off, starting with the Nerf Condi, please, playing on his Elementalist. He's going to be running with 00266 along with a Soldier's Amulet, Runes of the Pack, as well as Dagger. Now, usually we see this build played with a Celestial Amulet and Runes of Strength, but Runes of the Soldier, obviously, while it is going to reduce his healing effectiveness quite a large margin, it is actually going to boost, obviously, his damage a little bit, and obviously his toughness and vitality is going to be brought up a little bit too, which means he's going to be able to tank a little bit more of that damage, which when you consider the comp they're up against with that Spirit, with that Power Ranger, as well as that damage-focused SD Thief, doesn't seem like too bad of a deal coming into play there, but we will have to see how that fares out, as it's still an extremely unorthodox choice for an Elementalist running Dagger, and this trait split specifically to take. The second player, Anthony, as we check him out, is as well going to have somewhat of an unorthodox trait split here for a warrior, running with a double sword, so it is going to be a Condi build, along with a longbow, running it with a Celestial Amulet, and Runes of the Pack will be taking over in the traits 05504, taking Destruction of the Empowered, Vigorous Stance over here in the Discipline tree, and then of course we'll be boosting his Condi application over here in the Arms tree, along with the Defense tree, kind of acting as, well, his defense stuff. But other than that, once more, it's going to be straight up Condi warrior, so we'll have to see how things pan out, as this comp should be very interesting against the blue team, because when you consider once more, apologies. So once more, when you consider again the matchup they're going to be up against here on the blue side is very much so just straight up burst, which means most of those guys are glass cannons. They really cannot tank that damage all too well, which means once more all they really have to do is get Condis on them, and it should whittle them down pretty easily. But at the same time here, there is just in general a lack of damage from the red team here that could pose an issue, and a lack of support as well with Nerf Condi here choosing not to take a Celestial Amulet, so that could also be an issue for these guys on the red team. It's really going to be up to just how well they handle the situation and how quickly they can apply those Condis to the blue team. If they can get them on them quickly and knock them out very fast, then it'll probably be a very fast round in their favor. But if they're unable to do that, I do still feel that Blacklisted is going to kind of overwhelm them here. But obviously, we will have to wait and see. Jumping into the game cameras now. As soon as our teams are ready to begin, we can get started with this best of 3 set, folks.
The match starts soon.
All right.
Last chance to nail down your strategy.
And here we go, folks. Once again, it is going to be Give Lucy versus Team Blacklisted. We are still in the round of 8 here of this week's Mistpedia 2 vs 2 Cup. It is still a best of 3, so the first team to 2 points moves on to the next round. But we're going to find out here who is actually the better team in just a few moments. Gates have opened up and both teams are now on their way to middle. And give us a second here, and we're going to find out. So once more, again, things to consider here. Red team not really having much damage at all. Very tanky, Alberta, when you consider the overall outcome of their specs, but the lack of damage and just in general team support could hurt them very much so if blue team connects a successful burst. But over on the blue side, they've got all that damage. They've got that crazy amount of burst damage that is needed, and if 1 or 2 spike focuses, I would say on a Nerf Condi, might be the bells tolling for one of the guys on the Give Lucy. And in this 2v2 scenario, with most comps, the second one player is out, the match is pretty much over. And excuse me. And look at that Nerf Condi there. As we saw, just as I was saying that too, big burst play comes in on the Nerf Condi and takes him into the downstate very, very fast. Steb does attempt to go in there and attempts to get that stomp off. Thankfully, as we just saw there, Anthony did have a banner up and ready to go, so that got Condi back up and into play, but the question will really be for how long here. We're not seeing a stable enough application of Condis on the members of the blue team here, so with that said, Nerf Condi specifically is going to fall into the downstate once more. Yura is now gone full melee. Thankfully, this AI mob has actually knocked out Steb. They're going to get Nerf Condis back up, but if they don't interrupt this Spirit, Steb as well is now going to be a contender once again. Yura coming in is going to try to do the clutch stomp here. Does connect it once more there with the stealth. Third ability on Longbow is able to give him stealth there, and that as well pretty much guaranteed his ability to stomp. Anthony as well also now going to fall into the downstate, and that pretty much solidifies a Blacklisted victory here in round 1. So they're going to take it, and as such, they will get the point, which means, excuse me, guys. Got something stuck in my throat. They're going to take the victory here in game 1, which as well means they're just going to be 1 victory away from moving on to the semifinals of the winners bracket. Game 2 is coming up here in just a second, guys, so stick around for more 2v2 action.
chance to nail down your strategy. Hold on to your points. Seize theirs.
And we're now heading into round 2 of Team Give Lucy versus Team Blacklisted here in the Mistpedia Weekly 2 vs 2 Cup number 28. Just saw Blacklisted take a pretty dominant game 1 there. Red team, like I was kind of saying, that I do have quite a bit of bulk to try and counter out the composition over here on the blue side. But unfortunately, what they lack, or what they gain in bulkiness, they lack in damage here at the moment. So they really, without really any kind of big damage spike to throw back onto the blue team, they will be able to survive for a little bit longer against the onslaught that comes in here from Blacklisted. But unfortunately, their overall damage is still going to be a little bit too much for them to handle here without having adequate enough damage reapplication going on to members of Blacklisted themselves. They are playing this a little bit more carefully last time, and you can see pretty nice, decent evidence of that in the fact that once more, during the last round there, we saw Nerf Condi's please diving directly in over onto the blue team, whereas this time, they decided to let Blacklisted engage onto them in hopes that a more defensive approach to the game would hopefully be in their stead. Now, while it is somewhat working in an attempt to knock out Steb, unfortunately, Yura is being pretty much freely allowed to DPS with his longbow, which is never a thing you want to have happen there. They need to get some pressure applied onto him while keeping their eye on Steb, which, while I understand is a very, very hard thing for teams to do, it is absolutely necessary to use when fighting against a Power Ranger, because once again, they're that Power Ranger. You just let him freely DPS, he is going to kill you regardless of what you try and do to get out of that, unless you somehow are able to fight an LS, which on this map specifically is going to be an extremely hard thing to do. You're really not going to have much of an opportunity to get away from that, so you have to try and control him while at the same time trying to control that thief. And as we saw here, red team just not able to do that so well. So with that said, once more, Blacklisted is going to take a 2-0 victory, and they, as such, will be moving on to the semifinals of the winners bracket. As for Give Lucy, they're still going to have their opportunity to fight in the lower bracket, and we'll hopefully be seeing them a little bit later on tonight. But this round's going to be over, guys, so stick around as we will be having, give me a second here, as we will be having our next game, which will be that semifinal. It's going to be Sal and Lugo taking on Blacklisted, and that game is coming up here, guys, in just a few moments. Stick around for more of the 2v2.
The match starts soon. Last chance to nail down your strategy.
And once more, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mistpedia Weekly 2-on-2, number 28. My name is Blue, and we're heading into the semifinals for this half of the bracket. It's going to be Team Blacklisted taking on Sal and Lugo. Blacklisted are a very late addition to the tournament, with once more Steb and Yura. Very, very power-oriented composition over here, with a full-on 26006, pretty much as bursty as SD gets here at the moment. And then Yura, of course, on the burstiest of Ranger builds, the 66200 Power Ranger build. And then on the blue side, once again, you've got a much more passive approach to things with Loke IDC playing on a Viscerate build, but a Celestial Viscerate build, and as well Falsetto playing on Pistol Dagger Condi Thief. So pretty much polar opposites on the build scale here. We're going to see how things go. There is a nice amount of pressure immediately off the bat. We have to notice this too, is that unlike some of the other teams here, there is an immediate amount of pressure being applied over to Yura. And as well, you can see that Yura is already being forced to play defensively because of this, and this is leaving Steb out in the open here too. And what's more, this is very large issue for Team Envy, but at that same time, you can also see that Steb was doing a very nice job of controlling Falsetto, making sure that damage was going off onto him, and as such, we have now seen Falsetto go into the downstate, a task that some of the other teams were having quite a large issue accomplishing as well. Falsetto was proving to be a rather hard catch to try and make there, but nicely done by Steb, and keeping his focus onto that and not necessarily trying to chase down the warrior. Always got to keep your priorities straight, and it looks like Red Team has done that. So with that in mind here, Yura may go down, but I think even if he does go down, we should be able to see Steb kind of handle the scenario here. Dog's gonna knock him down. SR will save Yura from being stomped out. Actually, no, it won't, because Yura gets himself out of stealth, but that doesn't matter too much here, as once more, we're also going to see Steb going in there for the execution onto Loke. Anyway, so with that said, Blacklisted takes a nice round one, 2 kills to none for the blue team, and they're now going to be up 1-0 and 1 game away from moving on to the grand finals of the winners bracket, guys. We'll be right back in just a second with game 2.
Red team wins a capture point.
I miss those nights when we were younger, and we would never sleep. So let's forget about tomorrow and live for tonight while we're free. Touch the sky. Tonight we're coming alive.
Last chance to nail down your strategy. Hold on to your points. Seize there.
And here we go, folks. Once again, it's Blacklisted versus Sal and Lugo. Second game coming up here in just a few moments. Both teams have approached the middle area already here, so we're just waiting once more for these teams to engage. It looks like once again here we're going to see Blacklisted take the kind of passive approach, which generally speaking, considering the comp on the blue team, does seem to be the optimal route here. They want their opponents to engage onto them. Yura as well gets just a huge advantage by having opponents approach him. That's probably like one of the biggest things about Power Rangers on this map in general. Even like say in a Conquest game mode, Power Rangers get such a huge boon from the ability to fight up on the tiers, which is, again, is one of the main reasons we've actually banned the 3rd tier here, because it would be kind of OP for Yura. But like say on a Conquest map or something like that, it's just so annoying for opponents to try and get up to him, because the actual damage he's going to be able to output on opponents while they are trying to get to him is absolutely astounding. And as you can see here too, the added pressure that's coming in from Steb at the moment is just being absolutely adequate enough in order to completely keep Falsetto out of the loop here in terms of dealing damage. Yura as well is doing a very nice job, I have to note too, of trying to control this warrior, who at the same time has been trying to focus. A nice switch up on the target, though. Does come out there from low IDC, which is going to leave only Yura up and alive to try and maintain this fight. But as well, Yura, again, bringing out that Nature Spirit is going to save the day and gets him back up into play. Very well done. Excellent play once more here by Yura at the moment. Really doing a nice job. I do have to applaud low K IDC, however, on that very clutch target swap. Again, really playing the mind games with his opponents there and kind of just immediately swapping the target to go over to Steb. Steb was not ready for that, and that was the entire reason why we saw him pretty much get hit by that. Unfortunately, they did not see the Spirit coming out of the corner, and that either that or they didn't really have any way to interrupt that, so we did see it go down. So with that said, we do see Yura, however, getting spiked with Condies. He falls into the down state, and with that said as well, Steb will have to try and save him here. Does throw down the Shatter Refuge, which is going to buy him a lot of time before he gets stomped. Keep in mind, too, that blue team does not really have too much Corpse Cleave, so with this in mind, Yura is now going to buy plenty of time in order to get his Lick Wounds off cooldown, but Steb, unfortunately, on his lonesome, is not going to be able to buy enough time to keep himself up and rolling. Lol K is getting low. Yura, as well, is getting passively res, but Falsetto is going to get a stealth stomp off, but hold on, why did that stomp not connect for some reason there? I saw invulnerability ticks. I'm not 100% sure what happened, but regardless, I don't think that is going to matter. Steb goes down, and Falsetto as well also gets knocked out. So with that all done and settled, Sal and Lugo are now actually going to snipe a game away from Team Blacklisted, and this will bring the set up to 1-1, guys. So game 3 is going to be coming up here in just a second. Make sure you stick around for more of the 2v2 coming up as soon as our players reload into the map and ready up.
I miss those nights when we were younger, and we would never sleep. So let's forget about tomorrow and live for tonight while we're free. And our hands will touch the sky. Tonight we're coming alive. And our hands will touch the sky. Tonight we're coming alive.
Match starts soon. Last chance to nail down your strategy.
Hands will touch the sky. Tonight we're coming alive. From the dust we will awaken.
Hold on to your
And
points.
life will fill
Seize
our
theirs.
veins.
Alright, folks, and welcome back once again here. It's round 3 of our winners bracket semifinals between Team Blacklisted and Sal and Lugo. A lot of bands in there. But anyway, we are now getting started. Red team, or blue team specifically, I think has a little bit more confidence going into this round. You take a look at the last round there, and they were not really wanting to move in at all, but this time, they are rushing in. I think, however, that is proving to be a very large mistake, because as you can see here, immediately it has forced the pair to split up. Old K is sitting over on the other side of the map, while we do have Falsetto kind of sitting on his own area here, and unfortunately getting ganked out too. Nice burst comes in there from Stab as well as Yura. An attempt at an Eviscerate does come in there from Low-K, but really not too well, and a nice stomp comes out there from Stab as well to eliminate him from play. Really big mistake on the positioning there from the blue team. Went immediately directly into the red team's den, as it were, and once more that added confidence pretty much was their own downfall there. They thought they could go in and handle the red team much better that time, but that proved to be a very, very large mistake, as once more burst is the name of the game with them, whereas blue team must fight a very much so slower game. Now hold on though, wait a second. Low-K does manage to connect a nice Eviscerate combo onto Steb and takes him into the downstate. We do have to note too that Steb as well has sought the DP, but at the same time, even with Steb Steb going down. It looks like Yura might have this under control, and it does appear that he has. And with that handled, that's going to be the game, guys. So Blacklisted is going to score 2 on victory. They'll be moving on to the next round, which is going to be the winner's bracket semifinal. They're going to play Outplayed by Children for the opportunity to get the advantage position in the finals, as well as that guaranteed 800 gems per player. And as for Sal and Lugo, they're going to be dropped into the lower bracket. They are not out of this tournament just yet, but they are going to have to fight for their survival later on in the tournament. We'll be right back, guys, with more of the 2v2 coming up in just a few seconds as we move on to the winner's bracket finals.
Look beyond highs and lows, seize the fear, let it go. Have the strength to take the journey. Follow the
And once more, folks, welcome back. We are going to go over to the build camera very quickly, and they're going to start the game without me. But very quickly, we're going to check out the builds over here from the red team. This is team Outplayed by Children. So first off, taking a look at Backpack over here. He is going to be running with, I believe, his kind of trademark Control Engineer. And for some reason, we lost his point of view. But he is going to be running with his Control NG build here. Rifle, Celestial Strength. Nothing too out of the ordinary here. In fact, this is fairly standard as engineers go. Running with 60044. So once more, we'll have a really good amount of control. This will be really good for Yura because, again, that magnet pull is going to be absolutely crucial for kind of keeping Yura in check, pulling him within range. You will have to waste 1 CC on him first, though, because of the kind of mitigation trait. And of course, Nos will be running with standard Necrocondy. Unfortunately, we don't have time to explain it all, as we do have to head into the game cameras as we are getting started here with the match. You can see already that they do not want to engage these guys head on, which obviously is a very smart move considering the build that Yura is running. Power Ranger, all that direct damage. You do not want to screw with that in a head-on approach here. So with that in mind, Backpack tries to approach in. I do want to say that he tried to do his magnet pull, and yep, he did try to do the magnet pull and botched it, unfortunately. So once again, that's a very big cooldown going to be wasted. He really needs that to try and get Yura into bad positioning. That's what it's all about there. And when you try to kill that Power Rangers, you need to get him in bad positioning so that you can force him into an awkward spot where you take him down. Clutch Crate comes in there. Actually, a blind crate and a blind shot in the AoE. A blind jump shot knocks Steb into the downstate. Very well played there by Backpack. Nos as well is going to come over here, try to control Yura now. I don't believe he's actually fully aware, and actually now he is. Now he's fully aware that Steb has gone down, and as well is going to knock Steb out of play there. Very well done there by Outplayed by Children. Masterfully handled by Backpack. Yura is now the only player left up and alive here, and once again with Nos sitting at a pretty decent health pool, as well as just in general Backpack being at full health here, they should easily be able to handle the rest of this matchup. And once they've gotten Yura into the downstate, that's going to be GG for these guys. And there you have it. Backpack comes in with an S-Stomp just to be safe. And as we see that, Outplayed by Children will take game 1. They'll be up 1-0, and they'll be 1 game away from not only moving on to the grand finals, but they'll also get the advantage position in the grand finals. And of course, they'll be getting that guaranteed 800 gems per player. We'll be right back, guys, with round 2 of this matchup. It's coming up in just a few minutes. We're going to see if Blacklisted can turn things around, or if it's going to be a clean sweep 2-0 here in the winners bracket finals for Outplayed. Be right back, folks.
You taking aboard your rocket ship?
nail down your strategy. Hold on to your points. Seize theirs.
And welcome back, folks. It's Outplayed by Children versus Blacklisted. This is the winners bracket grand finals here at the Mistpedia Weekly 2 versus 2, number 28. 28 cups later. I believe it's been about 15 since we've actually done one on Legacy of the Foe-Fires, so we are now finally returning to it for this week's cup. Once more here, though we are at the winners bracket final, so we're going to find out who gets that advantage spot, who gets that extra game at the start of the grand finals themselves. And as we're seeing here, and looking very, very good for Outplayed, actually, to take the entire thing, especially after that round 1 there. But at the same time, again, we did see Outplayed playing this one much more aggressively this time, which ended up being the mistake for the previous team that ended up playing Blacklisted. A slow approach, waiting for their opponents to screw up was really what they needed there, and that's what they did in round 1. In round 2, they are playing things a little bit more risky. Now, while that could still work perfectly fine for them, if they mess up, things are still going to get very bad for them indeed. Backpack now, for the second time, is actually going to kill Blackpack with a blind jump shot. Very well done there indeed. I don't know if he's actually going to be able to stop Step from getting up, though, and it looks like Nos is just going to be able to save it. No, actually, Step does get out of the way of that with a smoke bomb, but at the same time, I do think he's got way too many connies onto him, and while all this action was going on with Step's corpse, Yura also gets knocked out, which means, once again, folks, that's going to be a quick 2-0 in favor of Outplayed by Children, meaning they are moving on to the grand finals, and they will not only get that spot in the grand finals, but they'll also get the advantage position, and they'll also be getting that guaranteed 800 gems. As for Blacklisted, they will go down to the lower bracket finals. They'll get their chance at revenge, assuming they're able to beat the opponent that ends up coming into that lower bracket finals as well. But that we're going to find out a little bit more on in a little bit here, guys. We do have to change servers, so we're going to take a short 5-minute break, and when we do come back to you, we're going to be rejoining the other server, and as well starting the coverage of the lower brackets, guys. We'll be right back in just a few minutes with more of this week's 2v2.
But I just gotta know one thing.
And we're actually going to make that break a little bit shorter than it was, guys, so apologies for that. But we are now jumping directly into our next game here in the lower bracket. I thought things were going to take a little bit longer than that, but apparently things are going fairly smooth. So, here we go, folks. It is Cleanup Crew versus Kappa Crusaders. We are already in the second game. As you can tell, there is a point on the board for Kappa Crusaders. That is not a mistake. Shin and Kuroshi do have one game on these guys. We're going to see if they're able to take a second one now, or if their opponents can come back into it. Now, we have not seen the build, so we're going to do a quick preview as this game is going on. Just to note, too, there is a large amount of focus going on in Demonoids. The red team does be a little bit careful of that. But, of course, checking out the build very, very quickly indeed, it does appear to be a little bit of an interesting comedy build here on the side of Demonoid. once again, other than that, it's fairly standard, but the obvious very interesting thing is coming into the fact that he's gone for full Soul Reaping, but once more is not going for anything like POC or Doomfire, though, which makes it right off the bat a very, very interesting Necromancer build, because we almost always see POC or Doomfire being taken, but as it would appear, he appears to want to go for a Foot in the Grave, which versus this kind of matchup does not seem to be the worst thing in the world. And obviously, as we can tell by the outcome of this match, it is seeming to work fairly well here. Kuroshi's gone down, and Shin's going to get knocked out in just a second, which means that our red team here, Cleanup Crew, is going to take the second round. And with that in mind, we're going to be seeing a third round coming up in just a moment, guys. So once more, while we are waiting for that third round to come up here, we are going to take a quick look at the builds a little bit closer. We already saw that very odd Necromancer Condi build, a very defensive Condi build here, but of course, as we take a look at the warrior for this team, it's straight up Hambo, so there's no surprises there. Lots of CC comes out from this. Again, lots of CC, lots of AoE pressure as well there, and if you can apply that on your opponents, it pretty much opens up the floodgates for Demonoid to come in there with any Condis that he needs to throw onto his opponents there. So once more, a very good team support build, very good bruiser build. It controls the fight, controls the pace of the fight, keeps your opponents at bay, keeps your opponents away from your own friendlies, and just in general makes for some, you know, very good fighting with that. Because it's running with a Soldier's Amulet, however, he is going to be lacking a little bit of damage, does get a little bit of a shock value because he's running with these Sigils of Intelligence, so every time he swaps into that weapon set, he's going to get 3 insta crits, which will probably end up actually being fairly high crits. So he does get those 3 ticks, but beyond that, the build damage is going to be kind of so he's more of a control player at that point than he is actually kind of a damage player. Does still get a very decent amount of actual Condi pressure, though. In general, this build still does very, very well in damage output in general there, so it's not too much to worry about, but Zerker Amulet is the way you want to go if you're seeking damage on this build. This variant is much more a control variant. But anyway, guys, I think we're now pretty much ready to go here, so as soon as our guys are good, as soon as our guys are good to go, we shall get started with the third round here of Cleanup Crew on the red side versus Kappa Crusaders with both Shin and Kuroshi on the blue team. And once more, guys, for those of you having issues with Twitch tonight, we will be uploading the VOD as soon as the stream is done over to the Mistpedia YouTube channel. So if you are having issues viewing the stream, or if you're having issues just tuning into Twitch at all, we'll have the full VOD uploaded over to YouTube, hopefully as soon as this stream is done. If we don't have access to Twitch, I will try to upload the raw file. Don't know if YouTube will take the raw file, but we'll have to see. Hopefully it will, and we'll get that VOD up for anybody that wanted to see tonight's 2v2 stuff. But we are just waiting for the ready up specifically from Kuroshi, and we have it! So we're good to go, guys, here. Once again, just waiting for the game to begin. Kuroshi, as well as a reminder, the blue team builds very fast, is running with still pretty standard Condi NG 62042, along with Pistol Shield. Running with the triple kits here as well, has not gone back to the Grenade Kit, Toolkit, Elixir S build that we were seeing him run earlier on. And as well, I do believe that Shin is also running with the same build too, and that does appear to be the case. Axe, offhand sword with a hammer, Celestial Amulet, Ruins of the Rodasum, as well as the traits being 42404. But the gates have opened up. Both of our teams are now on their way over towards the middle point. So let's take a gander and see who is going to take the final round of this set, who is going to be eliminated from tonight's event, and who will move on and keep themselves rolling for the time being. Blue team, specifically Shin, kind of trying to beeline his way over towards the red team at the moment. Supported very closely behind by Kuroshi here too. But again, it's very passive. Gotta keep in mind here too that red team does have a fairly decent amount of control. Overall, I mean, when you take a look at the builds themselves, overall the scopes of both of these compositions are the same. You've got one Condi-based applicator, and then of course you've got one kind of control slash frontliner here at the moment that happens to take the form of Shin, as well as Datsong, so this is the frontliner for both teams. And then again, that Condi applicator slash damage pusher is going to take the form of Demonoid and Kuroshi for either team. So it's really the same name of the game. There isn't really much burst coming into the mix here at all. It's all, for the most part, Condi based here, and yeah, that's pretty much what is making up both of these team compositions as well. But we take a look here at the moment. There is a nice amount of Condi spike coming off on his Shin. He needs to get rid of this, needs to swap over and use CI. Not really handling this all too well at the moment. Thankfully, in general here, he seems to be mitigating these Condis just through tanking them head on here fairly alright. And Kuroshi as well has put a fairly decent amount of Condis on a Demonoid, and considering once more his next Condi cleanse is over 15 seconds away, that is really going to put Demonoid in a bad position here now. Blue team, just one swift approach. If they're able to get that pressure on the Demonoid himself, he is going to go into the downstate. Look at this, 4 health left. There we go. Now we see Demonoid going into the downstate. Shin coming in for a stomp, but unfortunately he does not have stab. But even if he did have stab there, Datsong is still going to be able to get off his banner, and that'll get Demonoid back up into play. In terms of how the blue team is handling this, however, everything seems to be going quite well for them. There's not much Condi damage coming back onto the members of the blue team whatsoever. It's really just all the CC that's coming in. But as you see there, Kuroshi got locked into a hammer combo, and that's really going to be the end of him for the time being. We do see, though, though, that as well, there was a nice, what I believe to be a corrupt boon. Actually, no, we do see a Signet of Spite coming in over there onto Shin, and that as well looks like it is going to melt him down. Kuroshi's pretty much dead at this point, and that nice run over comes in from the minion there, finishes off Kuroshi, and also takes Shin into the down state. So with both of these guys eliminated, it's going to be the cleanup crew that moves on to the next round, and as for the Kappa Crusaders, they are going to be eliminated from the event right here. And as well, the cleanup crew will now move on to the next round, and their next opponent will be Team Teamwork, which is Oran as well as David's team. Might be another player working with him tonight, however, but it's going to be Oran joined by whoever his teammate ends up being. That is who the cleanup crew is going to play next, but I think we do have another game to go to first. That is going to be Sal and Lugo. Actually, it looks like it is going to be... no, it looks like Good Fights might have seeded that, or we just don't have scores going on there for some reason, but it looks like it's going to be Sal and Lugo taking on #Believe will be our next matchup, guys. We'll be right back in just a second with the next game.
No! I said, are you ready?
Alrighty, folks, and welcome back once again to the Mistpedia Weekly 2 vs 2. We are now heading into our next round here in the lower bracket. Official position of the brackets at this point in time, I believe, is the lower bracket. Apologies, it's the lower bracket quarterfinals, if I'm looking at this correctly. Yes, it's going to be the lower bracket quarterfinals, or just round 4 if you're looking directly at the brackets themselves. It's going to be Team Teamwork versus the Cleanup Crew as an update on the Sal and Lugo versus the #Believe game. #Believe got a default victory because Sal and Lugo's teammate did have to part ways, unfortunately. So with that said, we did end up seeing #Believe get a free win there, and they moved on. But very quickly checking out the builds over here on the red side, it is a double warrior composition. It's got Defective and Overrun running on it. First off, Defective's build over here running with 20606. It's going to be fairly standard Eviscerate. Running with the Solar Gem means he's going to be a little bit more tanky, but overall should just have the same amount of damage. We'll be missing a little bit of Condi Spike. And actually, no, too, this is pretty much this is very similar to the build that Shin was just running, using a hammer instead of axe and sword, but the traits are a little bit different than that. But once more, other than that, again, he's going to be missing a little bit of Condi Spike that he would gain on the offhand sword, say if he was running Celestial, but that shouldn't matter too much. And then Trowan, of course, is going to be running with more traditional Eviscerate build here at the moment, axe, sword, as well as a longbow. But he's running with a Zerker's Amulet too, so he's going to have full damage. Anyway, though, game is now getting started, so let's jump directly into the game cameras themselves as they take on the Cleanup Crew, who we just saw take that victory over the Kappa Crusaders in a 2-1, very close set indeed. But now they've got to get through Team Teamwork if they want to make their way onto the lower bracket semifinals here. That'll be happening in just a little bit. And at the moment here, we do see a large amount of focus coming off from that song, specifically onto Oran. Looks like it might be one of those slower games here, guys. Once again, these Warriors are going to try their hardest to try and lock down the members of the blue team. Dat Song, as you can see over there, does end up getting himself into somewhat of a bad position here with both these Warriors whacking away at him. Defective able to get out of that way of that Earthshaker, but once more, Oran not going to be able to do the same, so he's going to open himself to the Condis. But as well as you can see here, both these guys just in general handling the Condis very well. We don't really see a large amount of aggression in general coming off from the blue team. From these guys, for from the blue team, it's really more about just locking them down so that Demonoid can get the appropriate amount of condies off. You could see there just a second ago too that Demonoid actually wasted his Signet of Spite. Ren, if you don't actually have those members of the red team locked down, it's going to be very hard for Demonoid to get proper condi application going. At the same time, however, red team may be focusing the wrong target here. You can see, granted, again, Demonoid will have a lot of ways to keep himself going, but because of the fact that they have chosen to focus Dat Song instead of Demonoid here at the moment, unfortunately, Demonoid is pretty much going to be given free range to just go out and go crazy applying condies to the red team. And the only thing that is going to stop those condies from being applied is just red team dodging or, you know, in general mitigating all of that. So while it is kind of a nominal choice to try and control Dat Song there at the start, as his Hambo ability and as his Hambo play is going to be very annoying to both members of the red team. At the same time, trying to eliminate Demonoid might be the better choice first. As we can see, the red team just barely hanging on by a thread here at the moment. They did manage to take down Dat Song, and as well, they're also going to get Demonoid, so they're just barely going to keep themselves going. Dat Song is going to attempt to get this banner off at the last second, but unfortunately, the stomp came off just a little bit too quick there from the red team, and they were actually able to eliminate Demonoid first. So with Dat Song getting knocked out, that's going to be a 1-0 up for now for Team Teamwork. They will be just one victory away from moving on to the next round. And as for the cleanup crew, they do got to get things together heading into game 2, even though it was a very, very close match indeed. Probably some very minor change-ups are all that we need to see happening, but obviously once more, Team Teamwork coming out on top here. They're just that one victory away from moving on to the next round. We'll be right back, guys, with our second game that'll be coming up here in just a couple seconds.
Hold on to your points. Seize theirs.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is the next game here now. Team Teamwork versus the Cleanup Crew. Team Teamwork just took a game 1, but it was very, very close indeed. Possibly a misappropriated target choice there on Team Teamwork. Might have been the end of the game, but thankfully they were able to push through that just through sheer tankiness alone and knock out both members of the blue team. It was very, very close indeed, and to be honest, there could have gone either way. But heading into the second round now, we're going to see if the Cleanup Crew is able to control their opponents just a little bit better and hopefully come out on top this time to tie the set back up at 1-1. We do see Olrun coming in here at the moment, trying to get a focus off on a Demonoid, and you can see that this time they have changed the focus target on a Demonoid. This is going to add additional pressure not only onto Demonoid, but onto Dat Song as well, because not only does he now have to try and knock out his opponents here, he has to try and control them well enough too so that Demonoid can try and do the same. Unfortunately, with Demonoid under all this pressure, he is going to fall into the down state very, very quickly. Dat Song has the battle standard, but that's going to come out very, very quickly indeed, and once again may end up being trouble with it coming out this quickly. At the same time, however, you take a look, and Olrun is actually not in the best of spots here too. Dat Song might come in for a stomp in just a second. No stability is had by him, and again, does not really have one coming off a cooldown. He's gonna have to wait at least another 10 seconds, and at the same time, Defective, as we just saw there too, gonna bring down his banner, which will be able to get Olrun back up and into the fight here. Demonoid, though, handling things quite well here. Red team overall very, very low in terms of their overall status of health. Defective might end up going down here over the next few seconds, and that'll be the case. Trying to take a look at Olrun. He is not running with a second banner here, so which means pretty much going to be dead meat now on the side of Defective with him getting knocked out, and that'll be very low hopes indeed for Olrun to take this in a 1v2, so I think blue team has managed to control it there, and I think that they're going to come out on top here in this second round. All they're going to do is eliminate Olrun, and they will have the victory and tie the setup at 1-1. It's going to take him a little bit of time here, as they are giving Olrun time, which means once more his overall health pool is going to heal back up. Do note too that Demonoid is very low, so there's a very minuscule chance that Olrun can eliminate Demonoid, but to be completely honest, I do not see that happening. And there we have it. Olrun does end up going into the down state, and with him getting knocked out here right now, that's going to be the end of this round. It's going to get tied up at 1-1 for both teams here at the moment. It's going to go to a final round, to round 3, to decide who is going to go on to the lower bracket semifinal. We're coming up with that game in just a couple seconds, guys, so stick around for the continuation of this set.
Hold on to your points. Seize theirs.
All right, guys, and it's the final round now of the lower bracket semifinal. Team Teamwork taking on the Cleanup Crew. We just saw Game 2 happening there. Game 1, we saw a focus going off on a DAT song, which ended up actually working better for Team Teamwork there. Not only did we see them able to recover from a down player on the with Defective, I believe, going into the down state, but on top of that, they were able to eliminate DAT song and kind of just take out Demonoid in the 2v1 from then on out. But heading into the second round, we saw what appeared to be at the start a much better play from Team Teamwork, with them almost immediately getting a focus off on a Demonoid to eliminate him from play. But at the same time, when we saw the banner coming up from Dat Song, all that pressure just completely ceased from the red team there. Not sure if it was because they had taken a lot of damage in the process of trying to eliminate Demonoid from the bat of it, or just because they pulled off for some reason. But whatever ended up happening, it gave Demonoid enough room to apply the condies he needed to wear out the members of the red team and actually allow them to allow the blue team to come back and take a victory in that second round. But we're now in the third round here. Red team is going to try and pull off the same strategy they did in round 1. They're going to allow the blue team Necromancer to unload his conditions over onto the red team here. Defective is going to be taking the brunt of the damage here at the start, trying his best to LOS and get away from that at the moment here, but unfortunately still being brought down to a very, very low state of health here. And to be honest, with the general lack of pressure that Datson has been put under, he's going to get a very, very easy kill up on the Defective, and as well, that was the appropriate target, obviously, as once more, Oron was not the one with the banner. That was Defective, so now with him at a play, there was no way they are actually going to lose this opportunity. Oron should be going down in just a second, and in a little bit of a sloppy game 3, that's going to be it, guys. Cleanup Crew is going to take a 2-1 victory, meaning they're going to stay alive and well in this tournament. As for Team Teamwork, their journey will end here, and they will be eliminated right here, right now. Cleanup Crew will move on, however, and they're going to play #Believe in the next game. So coming up in just a second, we're going to be having #Believe play the Cleanup Crew, and that game once more is going to be happening in just a moment. Stick around, guys, for more of the 2v2.
Starts soon. Last chance to nail down your strategy.
And welcome back once again, folks, to the Mistpedia Weekly. It is the Cleanup Crew versus #Believe. This is our lower bracket semifinal. Winner of this will move on to play Team Blacklisted for the chance to move on to the grand finals to take on Outplayed by Children. Still in best of 3 sets here. We're going to have this one and the next one still in best of 3, and then of course our grand finals, which will feature the winner of whoever wins the winner of this one versus the winner of apologies, versus, sorry, I won't go into the details on that. It's a little bit too meta for the time being, but whoever ends up going on to that one, of course, will take on Outplayed by Children. and that one's gonna be a best of 5. But keep in mind, Outplayed by Children will still have the 1-0 advantage. Anyway, let's get a little bit into this game here as we take a look at the current kind of goings on here. We have Martin and Nessie. We haven't actually shown these guys on stream yet today, so very kind of speedy overview of the builds. Nessie's playing DD Celestial, 00266, so nothing too out of the ordinary there. And then we got DP build from Martin, running with 60206. This build has kind of popped in recently. I think a lot of guys, because of the changes that are coming into play from Panic Strike, are playing this build somewhat preemptively because of that patch coming into play. And as well, there's a lot of predictions that DP may rise in popularity after that. So I think a lot of guys may just be playing this build in preparation for that patch. So far, though, it's working very well, as you can see here at the moment. We did see Datsong try to come in and actually save his teammate Demonoid with that Earthshaker, but unfortunately, it was a bit mal-targeted and actually ended up going through the blinding powder, blinding him and stopping it from going off there. So thankfully, a little bit of lucky break there from Martin allowed him to get that stomp off pretty much painlessly. This is going to leave only Datsong up and alive, and with this being pretty much a 2v1 advantage, I do believe that once more red team cleanup crew should be in a fairly alright position in order to take this matchup here. Just waiting on Datsong to get eliminated, and that's going to be the end of it. We'll see cleanup crew up 1-0. And, or apologies, no, we do have the wrong teams here. We'll have hashtag believe up 1-0. Let me flip that really quickly, guys. We will have hashtag believe up 1-0, and the cleanup crew will be 1 game away from elimination. So there you have it, guys. Red team's gonna take game 1. Hashtag believe is just 1 victory away from taking on Team Blacklisted in the grand finals, lower bracket grand finals, that is. And the cleanup crew, they've got to piece themselves together heading into round 2, or they're gonna be pretty much all out of here. But once more, guys, we'll be right back in just a second with the second game. We do have to reload the map and get our players back in, and so as soon as they have done that, we'll be getting back to you with round 2. Be right back, folks.
Start soon. Last chance to nail down your strategy.
Time to do some real damage.
And welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen. It is now the second round of the lower bracket semis. Hashtag believe taking on the cleanup crew. After this, the winner will move on to take on Team Blacklisted in the lower bracket finals. And we just saw a pretty dominant game 1 coming out there from hashtag believe. The cleanup crew got to piece themselves together heading into game 2, where they are going to find themselves eliminated after such an awesome struggle here too. We've been following these guys pretty much since we changed servers. So it would be somewhat sad to see them get knocked out here now. But a nice entrapment is laid out here at the start by the cleanup crew. Do have to applaud them on that. Very well positioned Fear Mark ends up coming out there and actually CCs them away at the start. And this big burst just came out there from Martin onto Martin there. Very well done indeed with that. That's going to force him out of play for the time being. He does have a heal up and ready to go though. And this lockdown that's coming on a Demonoid at the moment may prove to be a little bit dangerous here, as Martin once more is looking to engage just a moment. Dives in. Thankfully as well, has to kind of piece out there because of a little bit too much pressure, and as well there's a nice knockback that comes in. That's in general what they've got to be careful of here. That Hambo could prove to be a big issue here if we can see Datsong getting the correct positioning, and overall here, if he maintains that correct positioning, Martin, unfortunately, due to not running an SD Thief, is going to have quite a bit of trouble actually sticking onto the target there, just in general, because of the fact that the Hambo is going to do such a nice job of supporting Demonoid. At the same time, Demonoid really needs to get away from this. This positioning right now is not optimal, and diving in directly over onto Martin was not the best choice. As you can see, he's going to find himself in the down state pretty much instantly because of that choice. Datsong as well, as you just saw there right in the corner. Nice interrupt that came out there from Martin. Datsong did try to go for a banner res, but it was interrupted via steal, I believe, from Martin. So with that said, it's actually going to stop the attempt to get Demonoid back up. That's going to leave it back down to a 2v1, and because of once more, we don't really see anyone low enough to the point where I would be confident saying Datsong could be able to 1v2 this one. I think it is safe to call it a 2-0 victory for hashtag believe, which means they're going to move on to take on Team Blacklisted in the lower bracket grand final. As for the cleanup crew, unfortunately, their journey will end here, but they will be getting that 4th place title for today. Once more, guys, another short break coming up here while we do reload the map and get our new teams in, but it's going to be Blacklisted versus #Believe coming up in just a couple seconds. Stick around.
Red team wins a capture point. Hold on to your points. Seize theirs.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the lower bracket finals here. There are 3 teams left in this event. Outplayed by Children, who has already secured their spot in the grand finals. #Believe and Blacklisted, who are both now going to face off against each other here to get that second spot that's available in the grand finals. But only one of these teams can get it. So we're going to find out right now in this best of 3 set who will actually be getting that spot. And whoa, what happened there? Martin, we didn't even catch that. Martin has already been thrown to the downstate. I am not sure what happened there, but as we can see here by the kill feed, it looks like once again both Yura and Steb were able to just absolutely destroy Martin with a huge DPS combo. Well, absolutely. I didn't even see what happened there, but whatever happened, it was awesome, and it took it took Martin out. However, take a look at this though. Steb is also down. Nessie is not going to be able to interrupt that spirit, which means it's once again going to be brought back up to a 2v1, and with the unrestricted DPS coming in here from Yura at the moment, that's pretty much going to end the set. So, not 100% sure what ended up happening to knock out Martin, but he got completely ganked at the start of the game. So, that'll end that game very, very quickly in the favor of Blacklisted, and they're just going to be one short victory away from taking this set and moving themselves on to the upper bracket, or apologies, moving themselves on to the grand finals themselves. We'll be right back, guys, with our second game coming up in just a few seconds here. And here we go, folks. Once again, lower bracket finals here. Hashtag Believe taking on Blacklisted. Blacklisted just took a very, very quick game 1 there. So, with that in mind, we're going to see if they can last a little bit longer here in game 2. And we've actually already seen a bit of a change up here at the moment. You can see once more that we've seen Martin switch off of his thief. Is now instead playing on his Necromancer here at the moment. Still a large amount of focus coming off of the blue team onto him, though, as you can see at the moment. He's actually already been brought down to a very low state of health. Still playing a full power build, but take a look at what it is, guys. It's a Lich, and he's going to bring it directly onto play. Does manage to connect it. Oh, Steb gets 2-shot. Very lucky hits, though, to be completely honest. That first one was a bit iffy on if it would have connected, but it manages to take out Steb in just a few hits there. And Martin, with being the one spam king, is going to knock out both these guys super duper quick. And with that, is going to end this set in favor of his own team. Hashtag Believe will take it. And they will now tie the set up at 1-1 and toss us into a game 3, guys. We'll be right back with that third game coming up here in just a couple seconds.
Red team wins a capture point. Starts soon. Last chance to nail down your strategy. Hold on to your points.
And we're back again, folks, once again here with the next round, the final round of the lower bracket finals between Hashtag Believe and Team Blacklisted. Winner moves on to the grand finals to take on Outplayed by Children, but they will get it at the disadvantaged position, which means they will be down 0-1 at the start of the set versus Outplayed by Children. But still, they'll get that guaranteed 800 gems per player at least, and they'll have the opportunity to bump it up to the 2,000 gems if they can beat Outplayed by Children. So obviously, once more, that is going to be a very good thing to gain here too. But blue team coming into this fight going to be a little bit more cautious this time, considering again that Steb pretty much got destroyed by that Lich when it got popped out there. Very similarly to how we saw Marvin get destroyed in the first round, but at the same time, even Stevens now, because we did see Step get hit with pretty much the same treatment there the second that Lich came out into play. With the game now getting started, we do see Nessie diving directly onto Yura to try and lock him down. Step will also try to do the same thing onto Martin back over there. Yura trying to connect with Martin, and as well, we're going to see a very early Spirit pop, as we may see a Lich form, to be completely honest here, over the next few seconds from Martin himself. That's not going to matter though. Oh, nice Fear does go off over there into the Spirit. Stops the stomp. We do have a clutch SR that comes in there from Step, and is actually going to save the day there too. But once more, Martin brings out his Lich, possibly a little bit bit too late, and there's chaos all over the place here. Martin's now in the down state as well. Yura is trying to get himself back up. Steb is in the down state here. Interrupt does go off, and as well, it looks like we are going to see Yura getting up through the pet res as well. He can do the spirit in 5 more seconds. That would get Steb back up, but now Steb is dead. Yura's gonna have to try and pull off this 1v2. Has managed to take Martin to the down state. Has an interrupt to try and stop Nessie from getting the res off here. Yura's so low, trying to go for the stomp, and no, is not gonna be able to get that. Yura goes into the down state, and it looks like red team has us under control, guys. Nessie gonna have to come in here. Should be able to execute this stomp in just a second. And on the second attempt, the second and final attempt at a stomp that goes off onto Yura, that's gonna be enough. That takes Yura out. And with Yura knocked down, it's going to be victory for #Believe. They will move on to the grand finals as well. They will be getting that guaranteed 800 gems per player prize pool, but they've got to go through Outplayed by Children in order to bump it up to 2,000 gems. And we're going to see that matchup coming up here in just a couple seconds, guys. So once more, Outplayed by Children versus #Believe is coming up in just a couple seconds here, guys. Stick around. Alright guys, this is it. This is the grand finals of this week's 2 vs 2 Cup. It's gonna be #Believe taking on Outplayed by Children. Here on #Believe, we have Nessie playing Dagger, Celestial Ellie, and Big Daddy M, or Big Daddy Martin, as his full name is gonna be playing full, straight-up Power Necromancer. As for the blue team, Nos is playing his own Condi build. 06404 with Carrot Amulet and Nightmare Runes. Obviously, again, nothing too out of the ordinary with that. Then you've got Backpack playing the Control NG. Rifle, Celestial, and those Runes of Strength with 60044 being employed. Nothing out of the ordinary with this blue team at all. This is the same build they run basically every single week in these 2v2 Cups, so wouldn't really expect too much different from them whatsoever. We do see, however, Crate Opener does connect over there onto Martin, and that's trouble for him with all these Condis sticking onto him. Does have to use his CC, but no, he's going to go directly into Lich Form. That might be a big mistake, to be completely honest, though. Yup is going to be forced immediately out of that, realizes the error of his ways, and is pretty much forced to go into his Death Shroud there, too. But as well, we see that Swirling Wind's coming out there from Nessie. It's way too late, however, in my opinion. Really does not stop the Condi Barrage. The damage had already been done on a Martin there. Would have really only stopped additional things from being tossed onto him there. Might have been better to try and save that for when he had gone to the downstate just now, and I think that fatal mistake there has pretty much ended the round. Martin has been knocked out. Nessie has no health remaining here, and with that, Nessie's going to go down. Backpack and Nosh should easily be able to stomp him out over the next few seconds, and there you have it. Outplayed is going to take game 1, which will bring them up to 2-0. As a reminder, they do get the 1-0 advantage, which means they're now at 2-0 in this set, and they are just one victory away from winning this game. We'll be right back, guys, in just a second with what could be the final round of this match, or of this tournament as well.
Refreshing.
Feel your
Hold on to your points. Seize theirs.
And welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen. This is possibly the last round of this tournament. It's #Believe taking on Outplayed by Children. Outplayed by Children just took a nice round one, and we have seen a swap from Martin there once again, switching over now to his Thief to try and play this other game. His team is allowed one major swap per round, and as such, he has chosen to do it over here to a Thief. So with that in mind, jumping over onto Nos first is trying to get that extra pressure on, but Backpack comes in with a nice crate that forces Martin completely away and out of the fight. Nos, though, with a nice chase, does connect the POC, and once more, that is going to put that additional pressure directly back onto Martin, and really, once again, is going to put him on the defensive here. More deeps coming off, trying to connect on Nos, but once more, again, Nos is at pretty much full health here, so that is really not going to do much for him. Martin can't even get into stealth, and once more, Martin falls into the down state. Nos did pop off that, Moss did pop off that Lich form just a little bit too early there, and as such was not able to get access to the Lich Stomp, or apologies to the Plague Stomp, that is, but once more, that does not seem to be mattering too much, as Nessie as well is having a huge number of issues trying to get Martin back up. He's going to go down, and I believe that is going to be it here, folks. Blue team still at full health, Nessie's in the down state, and that is going to be the end of this week's 2 vs 2 Cup. #Believe is going to get knocked out with 0 points. They will still be going home with those 800 gems per player, however, as on the blue team, Outplayed by Children is going to be taking the 2,000 gems per player, and they once again are going to be crowned this week's champions. That is, though, guys, going to be the end of the tournament, so thank you all very much for tuning in. Due to the Twitch issues, I do not believe I am going to be streaming, but as a quick reminder, too, this is a weekly event. This happens every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, so if you would like to sign up, just go ahead and check out battlefy.com/Mistpedia. We usually post the new sign-up links by Sunday night, so if you just go ahead and check over there, make sure to sign up in advance as well. It's, again, we actually don't need to sign up in events, as long as you sign up before the event and make sure you check in. Again, it's done on a first-come, first-served basis by check-ins, not by sign-ups. So all you gotta do is make sure you check in before the other teams do, and you'll get yourself in. Granted, we don't usually hit the 16-team cap, so I don't believe that'll be an issue, but just go ahead and make sure you check in, and you'll be allowed to play. These are open sign-ups. These happen every Tuesday. Don't forget as well, we also hold Conquest Cups every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Those as well are open sign-ups, and details on that can be found over at battlefy.com/Mistpedia. And don't forget as well that this weekend we're gonna be starting our 1v1 tournament that is being hosted through the help of Dube. He is providing precursors for prizes for that, so make sure you go ahead and sign that up. It's a 1v1 tournament, so just go ahead, put yourself in. Same thing over at battlefy.com/Mistpedia. That starts at 1 p.m. Eastern this Saturday. It's a 2-week event, so if you do think you are going to make it further into the tournament, please ensure that you are going to be available not only for this weekend, but next weekend as well. Other than that, though, guys, we hope you have enjoyed tonight's stream, and we do hope to see you on Thursday for our Conquest Cup. But if you cannot join us for that, hopefully we'll be able to join us next week at the Mistpedia Weekly 2v2 number 29. Congrats once to Outplayed by Children. That's about it for me, though, tonight, guys. See you next time.
There, so the res pressure still went off, and chat will go down. But hold on, yeah, Ventari's low, but now Sizer's so low though. Sizer, hold on, Sizer getting the heal off. Will Ventari go down? Ventari will go down, and Shad gets himself back up into play now. Sizer's low, and he takes Sizer down. Oh my goodness.
Either 30 seconds, they're trying. They're really trying to push in. They still have that one cap in their favor as well, but CM is just completely over them at this point. Let's see again.
18 seconds.
Pushing it super throwing down the fire field here at the moment. They're trying their best to focus the Lord. 10 seconds left in the game. The Lord's about 80% health. They're trying. They're just really trying. 60, 40, 5 seconds. Here we go.
If they get this,
health.
it's possible. They might get this, Blue.
Oh my goodness.
No! Yes! They got it!